Okay.
There we go.
And action.
And we are live.
Got it. All right. Hi, I'm Wayne Smith. We have Nini Maticol, Dion Cox, and Jomara Rosa Fernandez. And today we're going to talk a little bit about something that's really hot. It's ChatGPT, AI. We may say some terms like prompt engineering during this podcast, but we were having a really good discussion before we started recording, and we thought, well, let's go ahead and record this and stick this out there for people to learn more and to see what's really out there in the Web3 universe, programming. Most of us have been in IT at some point in our careers, and we just are interested in the techniques and the new technology that's sitting out there. So we're going to continue our discussion. You guys, all of you listeners, you can listen along and hear some things. And at some point, you can contact us on YouTube, leave some comments. Of course, the typical stuff is what everybody says, right? If you're on our YouTube channel, we want you to subscribe,
Right.
like
the videos, and
hit
share the
notification.
videos.
That's right, for the algorithm, right?
Like, share, and subscribe.
Right.
That's right. Like, share, and subscribe, and notifications, because
there you
we're
go.
going to start daisy chaining our
hit
content.
that bell. Hit that bell button.
Hit the bell. No. Click on the bell. Cancel culture. If you hit, that's a domestic violence thing.
Violence.
You want to hit the bell. You want to click on it and enable notifications.
Okay, my bad. Click.
Yes. Our attorneys will be listening to this, and they'll be cutting that part out of this broadcast. So I'm glad everybody's in a good mood, because we're talking about something that is really at the bleeding edge. Well, not necessarily bleeding edge. It's always been there. Yeah. But it's being talked about more, marketed more. People are associating their projects now. With AI, artificial intelligence, and things like that. So I think most people kind of understand what artificial intelligence is, right? Would everybody agree?
No, I remember the first time I heard AI, I thought they were saying Allen Iverson. So everybody that knows what AI means, artificial intelligence, I thought it was Allen Iverson. But now a lot of people know AI is like what?
You thought it was Allen Iverson? Did you say that?
Yeah. The first time I heard the coin word AI, that was the first thing, Allen Iverson, because he's the only one that we know called AI all the time. So that's what crossed my mind. Then they were like, no, artificial intelligence. I'm like, oh, okay.
Got you.
Yeah, that was some years back. But but most people, you will be surprised that most people, that's what the first thing that will come into their mind. Like if you say AI, they might think you are saying Iverson. No, this is not Iverson. We are talking about artificial intelligence.
Oh, you know what? I just put that together. AI. Allen Iverson.
Yeah. Hallucinogenic drugs.
Yeah.
Now catching on.
So ChatGPT, they rose real quick because I believe that they were talking about they got the fastest followers. Yeah. And I think they made $3 billion too.
Wow. You mean they raised funding $3 billion?
Yeah, that's what I read somewhere.
ChatGPT projects. I think Google's putting a lot of money into it, and Apple. But I know Microsoft is going crazy because they want Bing, the Bing browser, to be prompt enabled.
Yeah.
So basically, for those people that might be listening that are new, artificial intelligence, it kind of says what it is. It's artificial, meaning it's not coming from a human source, but actually it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
People code.
Code, like, and code
prompt
is
engineering.
Right? There you go.
Yeah. People code. And when people code is out there. And if anybody has ever coded before, object-oriented programming, allows you to take code from one thing that's used for one reason, copy and paste it into your project and use it.
Modify it.
Modify it. And open source coding has been out there for many decades, since I was a kid.
Okay.
So when we say that, we're saying artificial, meaning the ability for code to work on or in computers to give us a result faster than if a human being would do it. That's one kind of way of thinking about it in a simple way. Anything else come to mind about artificial intelligence?
I would say it's a way of bridging the gap between like what's the name? Like numbers, wisdom, knowledge.
Yeah.
Between human being and computing or something of that nature, because we will need human beings to, like you said, the prompt engineering to be able to speak a different language to the computer. But in return, you want it to bring out something that you, a human being, can relate to, but not in a way where it's only going to be understood by people who know computer languages. But now it's breaking it down as a user-friendly form of way for the end product to be understood really easily. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like you're talking about the single regularity. But yeah, this is one step closer to the single regularity.
Yeah. I mean, like, there might be a different understanding. Like, probably somebody could break it down really much more easily.
Well, no, what I mean when I say single regularity, there's supposed to be at some point in time, computer AI and man will coexist, and it won't be it'll be like, you know, like a man and his dog. You know, they'll coexist together.
Okay. I see.
That's called the single regularity.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. I think so I was in this group chat, like, you know, on Twitter Spaces, where people, like, you know, people who have been in that space, the AI space, you know, we're looking at how this ChatGPT or the whole AI thing and how people are going to be displaced. And one person was saying that, like, he one day was able to, like, try something and spoke to the AI, like he was looking for doctor's recommendations, and it brought out some medications, let's say like Tylenol. Then he prompted up again, so that, okay, I don't want to take Tylenol, but I want you to give me generic names of drugs that are within that same range, but not Tylenol. I don't want Tylenol. And there were different recommendations of drugs that were brought up if you don't want to use Tylenol, the strength, the potency, like, you know, the side effects and everything. And he was like, if I can get hold of AI to be able to understand what I need from a doctor, right? Not say a surgery or anything, but just like, you know, just go see a doctor, right? And ask for what they think. If you can get a ChatGPT to be able to tell you some of these things, I think along the line, if it's not like a medical doctor doing a surgery or anything, most of these ones offering advices are going to be out of the way.
I think ChatGPT is flexible, but there's also some cons with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be
it's flexible as far as, you know, you could use it for specific applications and tasks, like customer service, product recommendations, but also it does lack empathy. It does lack empathy.
Is he biased? And that's what it says.
Yeah, I did. It lacks empathy, but also it also has had, from me using it, it also has had like bias and some miseducation, so misinformation, I mean. So yeah, so it basically whatever it was trained to
do is what it's doing.
Is what it will do. But until I know that they are having some upgrades with it, so right now it's still in the beginner stage, but it's pretty good.
I mean, from what it's doing, if this is just the beginning, and from the look of things, what it's doing, then the future is really bright. And if those people who feel like my jobs is really threatened, like a developer, right? Okay, so one guy was like, hey, he has a dad who's like a top developer, but he has other people working for him, And they were able to get the AI to code. And the dad was saying, if I can get the AI to do most of the basic work that I need my developers to do, then I might pretty much fire all of them and get AI to do most of the basic work. Then I'll take it up from there.
Yes, I think we're all in agreement. We're just like kind of saying it differently. So to get with Nini on the medical thing, you could look at the stock TDOC, because of this whole Rona issue we were dealing with. TDOC, got a lot of funding and a lot of money. There's virtual doctors and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I think, just looking at society and how things have happened in the past, we're basically like guinea pigs on this whole AI system, like everyone is, and it's broad. And until they, cause divisions across the AI, because you don't really have too many quantum computing systems out there. And that's where this war is with the chips and everything, because in order for AI to achieve the heights that we're looking for, that we're discussing, then we need quantum computing. We need it to be almost in different space and time at the same time. In order to analyze all that data and regurgitate it. But yeah, you got what is everybody popular with the chat BT right now that I'm seeing is just essays and reports, in school. And, I have kids just like everyone else, and they're doing so much online where, they don't even have an English teacher grading their paperwork. It's the computer system that does everything.
Everything for them.
So I don't want the listener to get confused about, everything that we just said or what's going on right now. Chat GPT is just, basically a new advanced search engine and problem solving
tool.
Much,
yeah.
But yeah, we're all right. Like it's so vague right now. But until someone really decides what they want to do, I like what is his name? The physicist, is it Montessori, the Japanese guy? He had made that that machine in his garage when he was a little kid, and he got into MIT. He's usually on the History Channel. I like his thought process behind all these things. Like, why don't we, as a people, use this AI system and the robotics for nursing for the elderly and the mentally challenged, or even to take over rudimentary jobs? But that will hinder capitalism. So at some point in time, people are just the capitalists. What do they call it? The plutocracy. The plutocracy that we're our society is diving into is gonna push against it because they can't make too much money off the sweats of people.
There you go.
Because you think about it, okay, you fire all of these people, right? And you have the prompt, like we were talking about earlier, you have the prompt, do this job that, 10 or 4 other people could do. Eventually, how those people are gonna shop at Walmart, shop at the local grocery store, or shop, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, the times are crazy. So y'all, if you're new to listening to this, I'm always looking at it on the social aspect. So are we going to end up like California where everybody gets a stipend as long as we pay attention to the rules and do this and that? You hear about if you're black or whatever, if you're homeless, like people in California get stipends monthly, just because of their certain, criteria in life. I mean, that's it's crazy. What a great time we live in. This is insane, but it's beautiful.
I call it scary though. I don't see it great. I say it's scary.
wait, I don't know about Revelations yet, brother. But yeah,
these are scary. These are scary times, bro.
well, wait a minute now, Nini.
Yeah.
Earlier, you said that it was great, and you see a lot of promise, but now you say scary.
It's something that is mind blowing is scary sometimes. It's great, and everything is mind blowing. But then when you step back and look at all the things that is doing, man, if this thing doesn't scare you, man, I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, because imagine if let's say this is the prototype, right? Imagine if let's say 5 years down the line, the upgrades and what this thing can do 5 years down the line. Because now we're seeing all these robotic cops coming into play now, where they want to start using robotic cops.
We ain't doing so good with the human cops.
Well, this.
So now you see, let's tie your point in with what.
Okay.
Talking about the cops, the plutocracy, the potential for universal basic income, which is what Dion is talking about.
Yeah.
There's some political platforms that run on that.
Yeah.
Now let's look at this. Rosa said earlier that the structure for what we're talking about, the Chat GPT, holds promise, but she mentioned a word in there, and we haven't talked about it: bias.
Bias, yeah.
Can the code
be biased?
Biased.
Yeah.
Let's delve into that a little bit. Let's delve into that. Can the code be biased?
Be biased. Yeah, the code can be biased, right? So I remember one guy, it came up in the Twitter spaces, and somebody asked, and what the dude was saying was he typed into the Chat GPT like which race needs more learning, like which race needs to learn more of the other race, because probably they are lacking information. I don't know if my information is coming across the way that guy said it. Like, let's say
I get you, like what race needs to understand another race more, like
more,
so they can comprehend them.
They can comprehend. There you go. And the Chat GPT says no other race has any problem like that except Caucasians.
Yeah, this was actually a psychological thing. So here's the thing, like this Chat GPT is going by the writings of all writings
the
before,
code, like the biases
right?
is in the code and everything. So what is being told to tell you is what it's going to tell you.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is this has already existed since like it's existed, right? Like the original writers, they basically took all of human, how did Jordan Peterson said, all of human writing has been put into this, and it analyzes all of human writing to give you an answer. Right. So psychologists in the 20s were looking at after, what was it? Yeah, right during and coming out of World War II, they were looking at all the homelessness of African American youth, and a lot of it was because they were drafted as well, and they were put on the front line, so they were the first people killed in battle. That was all the way up until the Korean War, I believe, or the Vietnam War. Anyway, so you had a lot of homelessness with the youth, and the psychiatrists came back and looked at the mannerisms and the diction and these different things of African Americans compared to white people, and by sitting back, they deduced that a white Caucasian shouldn't adopt a black child because they'll be confused by the mannerisms of just like the way they move and speak. They'll be confused. Like it's kind of like how in the 90s they used to call black people like that angry black man. And be like, what are you talking about? I'm not angry at all. Like, what's going on? Like I'm not mad. Or like the stereotype between African, the stereotype between Africans. Like a lot of people like, why do Africans talk like they're so angry? It's like, what are you talking about? I know plenty of Africans. They're very joyful and high-spirited people, It's the mannerisms and the enunciation of the words, So yeah. So the bias will be based on, so this is scary. So hold on. After we deduce that, that means that the bias set in the computer would be set on who has the most prevalent, how do you say that? The biggest hold on literature when it comes to philosophy, psychology, the liberal arts, rhetoric, all these things. So that's kind of, that does make it spooky. But I agree with Wayne. I agree with Nene on the spookiness. Why are they calling these robots Skynet? Ain't that what was that movie? The Terminator?
Yeah.
Like, why are they choosing these names? Like, why y'all doing that to us? Like, why are you playing with our heads like that?
So,
But
As soon
funny
as I
enough,
saw,
what we see in the movies is what we are seeing in real life, though.
oh yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about it earlier. He was like, Did you know that even memories and stuff like that are within the DNA of a person, like from your ancestors and stuff?" I was like, "Yeah, I knew that." And of course, he had to test me on it. But yeah, there was a test in I think it was Ohio State. They did it on rats to see how the trauma. You know, I'm really deep in Black culture, but to see how the trauma is transmitted from generation to generation. So what they did was they put cherry blossoms in the cage and shocked it. And then, you know, the next generation, they put cherry blossoms in the cage and shocked it. And they waited like 5 generations and they just put cherry blossoms in the cage and did not shock it at all. And they found out that the man passes on tragedy to his seeds.
Wow.
But so I was telling, he was like, "Oh, so you do know about that?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I knew about that." And he was like, "So that means we got great ancestors, you know, from thousands of years ago, their memory and all that kind of stuff." I was like, "Yeah, it sounds like we about to get plugged in like the Matrix, and then we're
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
getting used as daggone giant battery storage units. You know, how many terabytes is one human? Like a bazillion trillion terabytes? Like it's insane."
You know what they're also using AI for? Transportation and developing the self-driving cars and stuff like that.
true.
Climate change. They're using AI for climate change.
But
To,
looking at that
Mhm.
point, now you had to drop off for a second, but we're talking about bias in the code. Dion has a good
Yeah.
point. Genetic bias. I always, and he quoted some reference material. I always said this: history is always written by the winners. So it only has one half of the perspective.
Exactly.
right,
So
right.
if you have coders, and I know this to be true because when I had my own AI project, we ran into this in the behavioral analysis side of the product that I was trying to build, myself and my other founders. We brought this up because the coder that we were using, we had a meeting and I said, you know, could we be introducing bias into our own code that will taint the end result of our project? And she said, you know, she learned how to code Python at University of Pennsylvania. She was a recent graduate with a master's degree. And she said, you know, that is a problem because 90% of all the coders are white males.
Wow.
And so when they do code, there is an inherent
bias already
in how they want the answers to come out.
Yeah.
And I said, what that means is we are not included. People that are brown, red, if you want to use those terms, you know, we're not included. And so bias can be inherent in the code. So how about this?
Wayne, I'm not going to cut you off, right? Can I ask a question? So
sure.
Even at the height of, you know, at the peak of all these upgrades that we foresee coming and everything, do we see this biasness going away, or there is always going to be a bias?
I think, and Dion, Dion and I had talked about this. So weigh in, Dion. After about 40 years, when that generation, that is the predominant generation, dies off, you'll start to see a more unified, homogeneous code that's being born by these minds who do code.
Right. Okay.
But it's going to take some time. We have some phenomenal coders in Pakistan, some phenomenal coders in Romania, some phenomenal Russian coders, Chinese. That code has to get into the so-called programmers diaspora. So it can be invested, because now you're going to have these prompts that are going to go out and you know, as we talk about, history is part of what these pieces of code of gathering to write these reports for our kids in school, for people who are in advertising agencies, for people who want to do marketing for like cars and things. So it's taking what's already there and shuffling some words around and then doling it back out. And so grammatical problems, like Deanna and I always talk about this. When we text each other, our emotions can be misread in the text as well as our intent.
Correct.
Yeah.
How much more so with a code that's already biased, that's sitting out there and it's ingested into your prompt command.
Correct.
So we have to be careful. We're looking at ethics here. We're looking at ethics and a committee.
A good example, another good example would be like when I do those things on Facebook and I'm like, you know, what stars does Dion look like? And I think last time it said I looked like Tiffany Williams and Beyonce and somebody else.
I forgot. Yeah. I saw who it was. It was really weird. Yeah. I was like,
today I pulled Lady Gaga. It was like, yeah, we had the same face structure. Like, okay.
What? Yeah. I like her beard too. So, you know, Rosa, what you were saying, I was just kind of catching you up. What you're saying is that particular code that's used for advertising, writing your kids' reports, engineering studies, maybe even speech writing for geopolitical reasons. It's going to have some of that bias in it until it's finally weaned out. And that's where we have to have ethics committees to really look at that. Again, we're going to have more human intervention than what we think. It's not going to free up human intervention, just like robotics did. My father worked at the Chrysler plant. And 20 years after he died, they're still trying to figure out how to get humans off the line.
Off the line, right. And we still got
the only way, and it will cost so much money. The only way is it would have to actually have its own supervisor that would also be robotic to analyze what the biases are. But then, like, at some point in time, like, in order to deplete the biases, like, a lot of us would have to be, I don't know how you say it, I hate to say it, like one world order almost kind of thing, right? Because the division is what causes the stereotypes, which causes the biases, which causes the division, right? Like you look at Cubans or people from Puerto Rico or Cuba, like you see one that's Caucasian, that looks of Caucasian descent, and one that looks of Negro descent, and you're like, what are you? They be like, I'm Cuban. Yeah, but what are you? I'm Cuban. Whereas in America, it's I'm African American, I'm Black American, I'm Moorish American, I'm Caucasian, right? It's weird, like Caucasians don't have to say American, like, oh, white, like they don't have that extra antidote at the end. But like, I don't know, I feel like that's the only way. And oh boy, somebody gonna think I'm a one world individual, which I'm not. I like being a sovereign nation, but I think that's the only way. It would have to grade itself, or another AI would have to grade the. I don't know, man. I'm gonna just put myself back on mute. I'm getting a headache.
Yeah, right. So don't you see the gravitation towards the one world thing very scary with this inception of crypto and everything, CBDs?
Well, I'm a believer. Like, I'm a believer of a good book. So I mean, it has to happen in order for revelations to come to be for the 7 churches and the 7 seals to be broken. It has to be 7 years of world peace. So I actually have to be open to it. I don't have to like it, but if I'm gonna believe in the prophecy, if I'm gonna believe in the prophecy, then.
But are we seeing signs of it?
It feels like it, and I don't know why they're intentionally doing it, but they've been intentionally doing it since the 90s when America gave the I don't know what you would call it. They gave I can't say their name. They gave a particular group of people that area where Yahshua comes from, Yahweh. They signed that
Okay,
bill.
okay.
Yeah, so that was one of the actual things in the revelation. And then they was gonna mark us with a Luciferus tattoo for daggone passport. I mean, it was literally called Luciferus because the name of the chemical in it is a light chemical, which that's what Lucifer means. It means the light bringer. So they called it Lucifer. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Why? Just why? Like, y'all just poking a lion like with a piece of meat, a bloody meat. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, but
Weird.
somebody said this thing, right? That at the peak and at the highest level of technological advancement, we might think the world has come to an end because some things are going to be really mind-blowing, especially with this longevity thing that people don't want to live forever, like, stay forever. And like, I think they are making a lot of progress with this longevity thing. We have a couple of new technological advancements coming through down the line. And sometimes it's really great that like we are alive to see some of these things. But like, where is the world leading towards at the moment? That's why I call the scary part. Where are we heading towards? We are enjoying the ride.
You have initiatives that are already out there and they're on pace, very rapid pace. And we mentioned this in our last podcast, the World Economic Forum, and they have, if you go out to their website, it's very, very blatant what they're trying to accomplish. I'm going to add this. Dion mentioned the singularity, okay? The singularity, and looking at it from the human standpoint, I'm going to read an excerpt. The singularity for Kurzweil is defined as a future period during which the pace of technological change will be so rapid, its impact so deep, that human life will be irreversibly transformed. Now think of that. Are we living in a time like that?
Yeah, putting cell phones in people's heads. The daggone chips on the hand, the Bitcoin chips on the hand.
Right.
You can go to the vending machine and just put your thumb up there. Like, yeah.
Well, now
there, on the cusp.
Now Rosa was outlining some of the uses that Chat GPT /AI /prompt engineering will be used, and they're seemingly very helpful. Rosa, did you want to reiterate those points that you brought up? How this technology could be used as a convenience, as maybe a luxury.
Well, I know, they're using AI to make the roads safer. They use AI also for people that need more customer service assistance. Also in the hospital too. So, things that are like automated and stuff like that, they're using Chat GPT also.
Do you think Siri was the first iteration?
Yep, that's what somebody said.
Siri,
Alexa.
Yep.
Alexa, yeah.
Oh, no. I'm about to blow your mind. Nope. That wasn't it. That was the first one with the voice. The first one, y'all ready for this? It was Ask Jeeves.
That's true.
The website.
I'm joking. It sounds like because you can ask it a question.
No, but that's it's all started from somewhere though. It started from somewhere. The code started, so it's like people advancing the code.
But we all have AI on our cell phones.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to repeat that.
I said we have AI on our cell phones. It's on our cell phones already.
Yeah. Whether we like it or not, right?
Yep. It's left with to use it.
I turn it off.
I would say yes and no. I kind of like, because so with artificial intelligence, the key word is for me intelligence. So it has to think for itself. Whereas these things are just prompting when you're around other devices, when you speak to it, when you do this, when you do that. Like with the AI system, you know, linking into what some governments wanted to do, which was called the Eagle Eye, it would be able to sense body temperatures, body facial what do you call it? Like when your muscles move, facial expressions, temperatures, and manner, where they could be like, oh, he's about to go rob somebody, and then they'll be able to like have police there already in the area. You see what I'm saying? Like it would already be in a thought process. You know, like one day it'll probably just alert someone and be like, hey, there's a dam here in Louisiana, and you know, hurricane season comes here all the time. There's a, you know what I'm saying? There'd be a prompt instead of like sending engineers out to go and test it. Something would already have that thought process up, and it would be through computer. It'd literally be on alert. Like there won't be a thought processing about it. It'd be like you walk into your house, and then one day, you know, the AI in the house, let's say it's on the refrigerator, say, hey, your blood pressure has been up the last couple of days. You might want to put less salt in your food, because if you continue this for the next 60 to 30 days, there's a chance that you'll have inflammation of your heart. Like you're like, what? Like the whole house would be like directly telling you what will influence your body.
What about
Isn't
AI
it
could
already
be
there? Aren't we already there with our watches that monitor our heart
yes,
speed and our
yes,
temperature?
Correct. So I correct.
yeah.
I see it that way, but like it's not telling us though. We have to do the deductions. We have to say, like, man, like, so my resting heart rate used to be 45 to 50. I'm like, man, why is it so low? I had to go and figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like the watch telling me and knowing, like me squinting my face and going out of confusion and going, hey, Dion, don't worry about that. Your heart rate's that low because you run 8 to 10 miles a week. And because you know, work out so much, your resting heart rate is like, oh, thank you, AI system. I appreciate it. I was so worried about that. Does that make any more sense? Like, it's not a direct connection. That's the grand single regularity when we'll be, you know, in the grocery store shopping, and then like get to the line, and then your phone go, hey man, you said you came here for milk. You remember the milk? Oh man, not thank you, AI system. That's the grand single regularity. These are more like prompts. They're saying that it's AI, and I'm kind of jovial with it or whatever. But like when it becomes true AI system, it'll be, you know, like your dog, like, hey, go get my slippers for me. You know what I'm saying? And
Well, you know
they're like,
what?
oh, they're in the room upstairs. Like,
Well, you know what? I see some good stuff with AI too when it comes to education, because not every kid learns the same. So the AI can personalize the learning of each child. The also for people with disabilities, it can help also with crime prevention. AI can be used for a lot of good also. Just needs to be tweaked.
And that's
Hello?
kind of like what prompt engineering is supposed to herald by having, but the underlying part also has to be worked on, which means we're going to have computer, where there's already computer ethics, some type of stationary, hard and fast rule sets. There were some things that I saw in my research prior to us getting into this conversation, and some ground rules have to be set for this to work well and work for the benefit of humanity, and not wash us over with technology so quickly that we forget how to be human. And the bias was one of them. There was also another disadvantage. This is interesting. We're being told that Chat GPT is just going to happen. You know, it's already here, but it's going to be predominant. But I think for the coders in our audience and the people on this panel that have coded, the cost to access GPT-3 is expensive. And a lot of companies just can't afford to do that today. You know, they're going to put that off for a while. Many individuals aren't going to put the time, energy, and effort into it, and many small businesses are not. And small businesses still are about 60% of the total businesses that are out here, in at least in the U.S. You know, I don't have a global number for that, but that was a drawback, something that has to be, you know, facilitated. Again, you know, lawyers are going to lawyer, right? So there's always going to be that part of it. The disclaimers, contracts are going to be written differently. Look at this way. What if I told Chat GPT to write me a pop hit, and it writes it, and it does become a pop hit? Who actually owns that?
People are doing that right now.
Yeah, you know what I did? You know what I did? I told it to write me a rap song like it was from DMX. And that was funny. That was funny. That's something that DMX would say. It was funny. It was hilarious. I like to play around with it.
Well, think about it. What if it actually went out in cyberspace and the internet and pulled some of his lyrics in? Who's going to get sued? Who actually owns the copyrights? Who owns the publishing?
ChatGPT.
Well, you know, you've been in music as long as I've been in music. So, or how do I say that? You know how that works. It depends on how many beats per measure and all that crazy stuff. But I think now in this day and era, like if you can do it on your own physically, like so, I know a DJ out of Tennessee, out of Memphis, right? She on the radio and all that good stuff. And I'm like, how do you get away with doing these little bits and bytes? Or why don't you just do full songs and blend them? Like DJing has changed. I'm trying to get an understanding for it. And she's like, well, people just really don't care anymore as long as you're not making money directly off the music. If you're making money off the content itself, if that makes any sense, it doesn't. And that's weird that I say that, because now that brings me into what I kind of see Chat GPT becoming. I think Chat GPT at the current rate of what it is right now is just going to replace Google. It's going to replace Bing. It's going to be the new search engine. Like, why would I want all these different?
Google is on AI too.
Why would I want to have all these different options of things to pick when I could say, like right now I'm studying homelessness.
Well, we have
right?
Siri as an option. We have Google as an option. We have Cortana, which is
Cortana,
what yeah, we have her.
So let me finish my point. So why would I want to sit here and look at all these different options, these 5 or 6 pages, right? When, like I said, I'm reading on homelessness right now and how it affects America, how to cure it, whatever, right? There's 3 main books on it. When I can go to Chat GPT and say, can you give me a synopsis, an essay, 5 pages containing the material from these 3 books? I never have to read the whole 3 books. I never have to go through Google searches and read this article, that article, this article, that article. Does that make sense? So to me, like for me as a researcher,
Cliff Notes.
Yeah, for me as a researcher, like Googling is a whole new different thing now with Chat GPT, you know, or I shouldn't even call it Googling. That doesn't even make sense. But searching for information is a whole lot different. Like business plan, you can just go there and say, hey, write me a business plan for such and such and such. Yeah, just do it. Oh, okay, cool. I don't have to Google how to make me a business plan. So I guess that's where the intelligence part comes in at. So I was wrong. Earlier, I was basically speaking directly on the single regularity, when AI and man will be one. But yeah. That's where I see this going. It's like the replacement for all of these different Safari, Siri, all of that stuff. Like, play me a playlist that my mom would like, you know what I'm saying? And then it'll play, you know what I'm saying? Like, or like people say something on Siri, but if it's with the intelligence, right, then it would understand and know, like, okay, his mom was born around this time. Let's put some Marvin Gaye in there. Let's put a little R. Kelly, some Luther Vandross, you know, let's set the party off right.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to take out R. Kelly. Your reference to R. Kelly out of this podcast.
Take it all the way out.
So I think we can agree, though, that Chat GPT, and we didn't talk about it. We will talk about it later, though. We will link a few videos together about this. GPT-3. I made a mention of GPT-3 and Web3. They are, it's hard to talk about one and not talk about the other.
Yeah.
You know, but we've attempted to do so without mentioning too much about GPT-3. It's a newer iteration, and its applications are very similar, but it's advanced. It's like Kurzweil's theory about the singularity. You know, technology can move so fast that it can become almost overwhelming. But there is always implied that there's a benefit to technology. Whether we say it or not, we always think of technology in a good light, as you were saying earlier, Nini, how you see the benefits. As Rosa was saying, how the benefits may at first seem to surpass the drawbacks, but there are drawbacks. We brought up some of those subjects too. So, any further thought?
Yes, AI can also assist with weather related, prepare us more better. It can also download the data of the drones that are, you know, looking at the weather and stuff like that. Yeah, AI can do it. I mean, AI is also what you can build you can have AI trading for you. You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
so
yeah. I was very familiar with that. Very familiar.
Yeah. Like I said, schooling, it can also assist kids with disabilities. Energy, you know, anything that deals with data, even the police department. AI can kind of make it better because, you know, all you got to do is just put that data in there. AI takes off.
You know, the Department of Justice uses a lot of data analysis when they come up with crime studies and overviews.
Oh, yeah, facts.
And patterns.
FBI,
yeah.
Quantico.
And AI will be able to assist in that as well.